Welcome to the first video of the argument analysis series on how to unpack and write about the visual. Today we'll be talking through a three-step process of how to examine different features of the visual and write up the analysis, beginning with examining the context of the visual, considering then the construction of the visual, and then overall what the contention of that particular image was and how it's being bolstered by other elements of the language. When it comes to the SAC and the exam, there will be visual material that accompanies the written part of the SAC. It will require deep consideration and analysis of why this image is there and how it builds the argument. The visual or visuals, because there may be more than one, should be analysed in conjunction with the language and one of the writer's arguments. You should not analyse the image in isolation to any other element. So let's talk about the overall approach. So unpacking the image, what should I do? I like to adopt the zoom in and zoom out approach. I think of it using the three C's. Firstly, what is the context? What is the background information? What do I need to know about this picture? Thinking about who created it, what is the political context at the time, what is the big issue happening at the time, who the writer is, like what do I need to know about the background of the picture and where it's come from? Then I can start thinking about how that image might connect to one of the writer's particular arguments. It's there for a reason. Once I've kind of done some big picture thinking, I can then move on to talking about the construction. So, what are the elements, if I zoom into this picture, that are worthy of analysis? Is there any color? What's happening in the foreground? What's happening in the background? Is it the positioning of these particular things within the frame? Or perhaps is there a caption? What does the caption add to the understanding as well? Once I've zoomed in, then I can think about zooming back out again. What is the message of the image? How does this align with or bolster the writer's contention? Let's use the image on the left as an example. Have a bit of a think for a second. Have you seen this picture before? If you haven't, that's okay. Everything will be explained on the next slide. But let's look at the construction. What are the particular elements here that are sending a message? This was my assessment. There are a few things that I needed to know. Hopefully this would be provided to you. Context. The creator of this piece of artwork is Banksy. He's a UK political artist. And this piece of work was designed during the COVID-19 crisis, particularly in the UK. Looking at his construction, well, the image of childhood innocence is constructed by the young boy being the centre of this image. He's wearing dungarees, like a type of overall, that implies that he's quite young. And then there's this basket of toys. Being more specific about the toys in the frame, the toy nurse replaces stereotypical superhero toys. You've got Batman and Spider-Man discarded in the basket, but there's the nurse. Her face mark connotes bravery and sacrifice, and we can see the red cross upon her apron, followed by a cape. All these elements are sending the message or the contention that nurses are real heroes. How do I put that together? Well, establishing a clear agenda, the image created by UK political artist Banksy encapsulates the public response to the 2020 COVID-19 crisis and the celebration of healthcare workers by the UK public. So make sure you start your writing with a context statement. Why is it there? Then look at the construction elements. Through his deliberate construction of childhood innocence, the viewer sees a young boy in classic dungarees engaged in play with a doll donning a nurse's uniform, face mask, and cape. This doll is juxtaposed against the discarded Batman and Spider-Man toys symbolic of the typical superhero. Now, if I was to end my analysis there, well, I really haven't analysed. I've just said why the picture is there and what the picture is about. I need to go a bit deeper. What is the contention? What is the persuasive intent of this image? This illustrated choice connotes the bravery and sacrifice of healthcare workers, bolstering Banksy's contention that nurses are real heroes, and further asserting the value of the healthcare system in the current crisis. It's now your turn. You should consider this new image. It is also from political UK artist Banksy. What does Banksy artwork tell us about social media? Well, what does this particular image tell us about the cost of social media, in particular, on the emotional regulation of young people? What are the key features that each of the arrows are pointing to that you can drill in a bit further to analyze? Without being provided the context, you'll need to do a bit of research. This image is from 2014 in the UK. What was happening at the time in relation to social media laws? What else do you need to know to explain Banksy's activism or his message? Free to pause, to annotate, or to hopefully have a go at writing this up using the structure on the previous slide. What about another practice? This image was connected to an article from Behind the News, a publication directed towards young Australians. You could quite easily Google this and have a look at the article for yourself. What is happening at the moment in relation to social media age restrictions in Australia? What do you know about the context? How does this image convey a particular message? There's a lot happening in this one little square. What are the important elements? The tape, the particular emojis, the phone and what's happening in the background of the phone, the particular apps that you can see. Thinking a little deeper, why does it matter that Behind the News targets a youthful demographic? How does this shape their point of view of the new laws? If you're not sure what the new laws are, again, you'll have to research it to write some detailed analysis. Lastly, getting a little bit trickier. This image was positioned at the beginning of David Kulitz's piece PS News for the PS News entitled, "What is the most dangerous emerging technology?" Now, there's a bit of text surrounding the image, so this is probably more in line with what you need to do for the SAC or the exam. What are the elements of the image that are worthy of analysis? How does the image tie in with the surrounding text? If you were to create a full paragraph, not just looking at the image, but looking at the image in relation to the surrounding text, parts of the text would you analyze in connection with the message of the image? Keeping in mind, you want to be very selective, and you want to select language that will create a cohesive paragraph. Remember, you don't have to analyze everything.